Hey, what is going on guys? My name is EndingGamertag and I'm back for another Fortnite video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys a full guide to completing the Season 4 Week 2 challenges of Fortnite Chapter 2. I'm going to be going through all of them and sharing with you guys essentially the most time efficient way of completing all of them and the easiest way of going about completing these. Now if you guys would like to see more weekly challenge guides in the future just like this every single week, then feel free to subscribe as well as turning on those post notifications. Without wasting any time, let's go ahead and hop right into the Fortnite Week 2 challenges of Season 4. So we're going to be simply making our way from top to bottom in the challenges in no other specific order than that. So we're starting with the search chest at Salty Springs, and we need to search a total of 7 chests in order to complete this challenge. There's a couple of reasons why this challenge isn't as easy as it might sound. The first reason is that there was actually a new update introduced with the start of Season 4, where chests no longer have a 100% spawn rate. This means that sometimes you might go in the roof of a house where you expect a chest to be, and sometimes it simply just will not be there. So that's kind of like the first issue about this challenge. And then secondly is because Salty Springs is a relatively small area and populated as it is. So there's actually a workaround for doing this. Now I consider this challenge to be a scavenge challenge, meaning you have to search something or collect something. Basically you have to scavenge for it. And scavenge challenges are best completed in a Team Rumble game. The reason this is actually the case is because obviously with Team Rumble, when you're eliminated, you can actually just respawn until the game ends. You can respawn over and over again. And also there's only a total of 30 people in the match itself, meaning you have a lot more space to yourself. You obviously can collect more chests than say if you were in a solos, duos, or squads game. So I personally was able to actually complete this challenge in one game by doing this in a Team Rumble match. As you guys can see, I think there was maybe 2 other people at most that came at Salty Springs. If I was to do this in a solos, duos, or squads game, you would already know there'd probably be well over 20 people here. It would be likely impossible to collect 7 chests in one game. This is why you guys should be doing this in a Team Rumble match opposed to any other game mode. Now the next challenge is to actually get 3 eliminations at the Authority. And this is not a scavenge challenge, so this should be completed in either a solos, duos, or squad game. Basically, you obviously just want to land at the Authority as quick as you possibly can, try to find something to fill up your inventory and deal damage to opponents, and then just try to get 3 eliminations. Now this might take you 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, if not more. It doesn't matter. Do not worry, you don't have to get 3 eliminations in 1 game. You can literally just get a total of 3 eliminations in all of Season 4, and you will have this challenge completed. For me personally, since I recorded the gameplay before the challenges are even released, I actually had quite a bit of trouble finding people in the Authority. Obviously with Season 4, there's no mythics here, there's no bosses, pretty much nobody lands here. I'd imagine nobody else would run into this error after the challenges have been released because people will likely land here just to complete this challenge. So this challenge, although it might take you maybe a couple games to complete, truthfully isn't that difficult and is relatively straightforward. The next challenge is to dance on top of different Sentinel heads at the Sentinel Graveyard. Now if you guys are not aware of where the Sentinel Graveyard is, it's actually right here, kind of below the Authority and to the left of Lazy Lake. This is where all of the giant purple robots are kind of laying down. This is the Sentinel Graveyard, and the purple robots are, well, Sentinels. So in order to complete this challenge, we need to dance on top of 4 of their heads. As you guys could likely imagine, this challenge is way better completed and easier to be completed in a Team Rumble match. So go ahead, load into Team Rumble, and just land here and then dance on top of their heads. Unfortunately for me, this is actually where the circle closed in at, so I did have a lot of people trying to eliminate me, and that really didn't matter too much though because I could simply respawn and glide down onto their heads. So again, there's going to be a total of 4 that have heads I believe, and you only need to dance on 3 of them in order to complete this challenge. The next challenge is to destroy 7 boats at Craggy Cliffs. This, once again being a scavenge challenge, should be completed in a Team Rumble match. So you want to land at Craggy Cliffs, which is at the very top, and you simply just want to destroy 7 boats. Now you don't want to destroy the motorboats. These are the ones that obviously use for mobility, the ones that can be driven by players. There's actually going to be boats that are a part of the map that can't be driven, of course, and basically just want to go ahead and destroy these ones. There's going to be kayaks around the map, there's going to be small boats, tugboats, there's going to be several different kinds of boats around here, but as long as they are boats and able to be destroyed and not driven, then they will count as progress towards this challenge. So again, we need to only destroy a total of 7, which shouldn't take you really long at all. You should probably be able to complete this in 1 game and maybe 2 at most, but it's a relatively straightforward challenge, very simple, and should not take you guys much time whatsoever. The next challenge is to bounce on different dog toys at the Ant Manor. So the Ant Manor is once again a newly introduced location of the map. I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of these new POIs that are popping around the map, where it looks like they've been like dug out of an area and then just resting on land. So the Ant Manor is going to be located right over here, and basically it's kind of like a giant dog house. So there's going to be different dog toys that are located around here, and basically you simply just want to jump on them. So you guys can see when you jump on them, it should bounce you into the air, and that should count as one toy. I believe there's 2 or 3 at the top as well as 2 or 3 at the bottom, and I think 2 of them are dog bones and 2 of them are tennis balls. So just go ahead and jump on 4 of these and you have now completed this challenge. This one is relatively easy. I'd imagine the only issue anyone could run into is just being confused as to where the Ant Manor is located. So this is where it is. I know it's not a named location on the map, but still should not take you guys much trouble to find it. The next challenge is to ride a motorboat under different colored steel bridges. So for this challenge, I strongly recommend you complete this in a Team Rumble game. Basically what you want to do is you want to find a motorboat. I really recommend you go to this exact location where I'm at, because this is kind of in between all 3 of these steel bridges that we're going to be going under. So you simply just want to follow this route that I'm taking. Now on screen you guys can see where all 3 of the steel bridges are actually located, at least the ones for this challenge. So you simply want to make your way from one bridge to the next and just drive underneath of them inside of a motorboat. And I will admit this challenge is a bit difficult due to the fact that the yellow bridge, I believe it is at the far bottom of the map, whereas the 2 first color bridges that we went through are near the top of the map. So it's very difficult to make it from the very top of the map all the way to the very bottom of the map without getting eliminated by the storm. So if you have any troubles whatsoever, you can of course complete this in a matter of 2 or 3 matches. It does not matter as long as you drive under all 3 of these colored steel bridges before season 4 has ended. I think in fact for me, I actually did this over the span of 2 different games, simply just because the storm closed in and I didn't have time to go from the top to the bottom. Now the next challenge is going to be to search 7 S.H.I.E.L.D chests inside of Quinjets. If I'm being completely honest, this is probably the most difficult challenge of this week, let alone this entire season. Now the reason being is because tons of players land at these Quinjets. I'm sure you guys know what these are. These are the jets that land at the beginning of the match. They have Stark Industry robots that kind of patrol the area and take shots at you if you land here. However, they do also have occasional mythic items that are floating in the air, and they also have these really well looted chests inside of the jets. So in order to search a total of 7, this is certainly going to take you guys at least 7 games, if not more. Personally for me, I always like landing at Slurpy Swamp because there is actually an opportunity to have 2 of these jets land side by side, or at least within this vicinity. So for me, I simply would just land at the jet initially right off the bat. I try to ignore the Stark robots. If I'm really focusing on this challenge, I will run right into the jet and then open this chest, and of course that counts as 1 shield chest towards the total of 7 that we need. I know a lot of times when people are really going for wins in the game, they will land at an area around the jet, loot up, and then push their way towards the jet. However, we do not want to do this for this challenge. We literally want to land right on the jet, run inside of it, and open the chest as quick as possible. The reason we don't want to take our time and loot up before we head to the jet is because it is very likely that another player has already opened the chest by the time you get there. So that's kind of a waste of time, at least in regards to completing this challenge. And as I mentioned, if you land Slurpy Swamp, there is a possibility that 2 of these jets will land relatively in the same area. Hopefully no one has been at either of the 2. Unfortunately, the gameplay in the background, I believe there was actually someone at the second jet who had already opened the chest, but I've certainly had instances in games previously where I was able to actually get to both Quinjets and open both of the shield chests inside in one game alone. But as I mentioned, this is probably going to take you guys several games and several attempts, but it is beyond worth it because of course when you search 7 shield chests in Quinjets, you are then rewarded with 50,000 XP. And I forgot to mention, you don't want to be completing this in a Team Rumble match because in Team Rumble, although the Quinjets do actually land, basically there's going to be no robots there, there's going to be no mythic items, and even worse, there's actually not going to be any chests inside of the jet. So if you do this in Team Rumble, well, it's actually impossible to complete this challenge. So this needs to be completed in a solos, duos, or squads game. However, I recommend you do this in a solos match. Now the next and final challenge of today's video is going to be to deal damage to opponents at Catty Corner, and we need to deal a total of 500 damage in order to complete this challenge. Once again, you want to complete this in a solos, duos, or squads game, and I'll explain in a minute why duos and squads are actually a way better option compared to solos. So obviously right off the bat in the start of the game, you want to land at Catty Corner. Unfortunately, the gameplay in the background, you guys can see I landed here and not a soul actually landed here. As I mentioned with the Authority challenge, I recorded these challenge gameplays before the challenges are even released, so nobody came Catty corner. I landed here 4 games in a row, and every time that I landed here, I was the only person here. So unfortunately, the gameplay in the background, you guys aren't going to see me completing this challenge, but you guys should not run into this issue because I guarantee a ton of people will be landing here now solely to complete this challenge. Now, the reason you want to do this in a duos or squads match. In solos, when you eliminate somebody, you get around 100 damage or 200 damage if they have full health and shield. Whereas in duos or squads, let's say you deal 200 damage to an opponent, they are now knocked, and this allows you to deal an additional 100 damage, which does count as progress to completing this challenge. So at most, you can get 300 damage from one elimination alone. If you were to do this in solos, I would say on average, you would need about 3.5 to 4 kills to complete this challenge, whereas in duos or squads, you only need about 2 kills on average in order to complete this. And overall, this should be completed in one game. However, if you're getting unlucky or maybe you're getting put into some try-hard lobbies, it is possible that this could take you a few games at most. But again, do not worry, this challenge can be completed throughout the entirety of Season 4. It doesn't need to be completed in one game alone. I will mention, however, that you should probably complete this challenge this week or today if possible, because as the season progresses, less people are going to be landing here. At the end of Season 4, it is very unlikely that people will be landing at Catty corner. The reason you guys should complete it this week or today is because it is a brand new and fresh challenge, so a lot of people will be landing at Catty corner solely to complete this challenge. So you guys should definitely take advantage of that opportunity. Just like in the gameplay in the background, unfortunately for me, literally nobody was here 4 games in a row. Now, believe it or not, that's actually all of the challenges for Season 4 Week 2 of Fortnite Chapter 2, and this is pretty much the best way and most time efficient way of going about completing each and every single challenge. Again, utilize the Team Rebel method that I share with you guys, utilize the routes that I took, some of the maps that I showed you on screen as well, and you guys should be able to complete all of these challenges in about 30 minutes or less. Now, if you guys enjoyed today's video or found it helpful, a like would be beyond appreciated down below. And of course, on the contrary, if you genuinely disliked today's video, then feel free to leave a dislike as well. And of course, if you're new around here and would like to see more Fortnite content like this in the future and weekly challenge guides just like this every single week, then feel free to subscribe as well as turning on those post notifications. Nonetheless, my name is EndingGamertag. Thank you all for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.